Bonjour, Kinamagian in Ireland and Dishnikas, and welcome to this math review lesson. Today's lesson is a review of standard 5 NBT1. The value of a digit represents 10 times as much as it represents in the place to the right, and 1/10 of what it represents in the place to its left. Tool a lot in this particular lesson. And this decimal column represents the dividing line between whole numbers this way and parts of a number this way. So if I put a 3 in the ones place, I would picture 3 $1 bills, $3. However, if I were to put one right here using blue, that represents 3/10 of a dollar, which would be 3 dimes. And even though these are both digits of 3 dimes is worth a lot different than 3 $1 bills. In fact, if you do the math, and let's use a different color just to avoid confusion. 0.3 goes into 3. Oh, we have to move the decimal point by timesing both sides by 1. So now we have 3 into 30. 3 times 1 is 3. Subtract, I get a 0. 0 is less than 3, I bring it down. 10. 0 times 3. So we notice that this is worth 10 times as much. So that's starting to teach what we're trying to do here. I have to erase it here. So let's look going the other direction. Let's put a pink 3 over here in the tens place. What that represents is 3 tens, or 30. Well, if you divide 30 by 3, and you just saw me do that, it's worth 10 times as much. So as I go from ones to tens, I multiply by 10. And then going from 3 in the hundreds place, if I put my zeros here, 3 hundreds is 300, which is worth 10 times as much as 3 tens. So every time I go one column this way, I multiply by 10. Now, on the flip side, going this way, if I put a 3 here, I have to put a 0 here to fill in between the non-zero digit and the decimal point. And if I remember right, 3 dimes is worth 30 cents. Hundreds are pennies, so we have 3 pennies. And in this case, a dime is worth 10 times as much as a penny. So this is dividing now, going this way, by 10 as I go this way. If I put a 3 here, it's worth 3 thousandths instead of 300ths, which is 1/10 as much. And then if I put a 3 here, it's 0.0003. Each one of these are 1/10 as much. So when it's getting smaller, it's not by multiplying, it's dividing. So as I go each column this way, it's 1/10 as big. And multiplying by 1/10 is the same as dividing by 10. So however you want to look at it. Right now, I kind of recommend is looking as division until you're comfortable at that point. Let's say for a second that I put it over here in a much neater fashion than that, preferably. If I put a 3 here, it's worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. So how many times more is it than 300? 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. And as it so happens, 10,000s go up to, 100 of those, and we end up getting there to 3 million. Go to the thousands. That's 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, and 10,000 times. So as we move this way, it's multiply by 10. We move this way, it's divide by 10. And even go in here, if I take 300 divided by 10, it's going to be 30. So anytime I go to the right, it's divide. If I go to the left, it's multiply. There will be some more things to do in your Google Classroom in which you can practice this skill. Once you fill out the Google form, that will be the assessment piece of this that will be graded. During the course of this quarter, we will be going over most of the standards we've already done, plus maybe some more through the math enrichment process. Some individual students might see some other things as well, as we try to make sure that you are all 100% ready to go to middle school in just a few short months. So make sure that you truly pay attention to these review lessons. They are not optional. They are required, and they're due at the end of the week, just like regular assignments are. You may complete them during the school day, or you may opt to complete them during your independent work time or at some other point during the day. Please be aware, unless I tell you specifically, do not use electronic devices to find the answers, as that will just kind of make it more difficult for you when you walk into middle school next year. There will be lessons at points that I'm going to ask you to use an electronic device, because there is a time and a place where a calculator is a good tool, and we'll make sure you have those skills. It just won't be in this week's session. If you have any questions about this content, or you need further information or more content or videos, please reach out to me at mireland@psychchipschool.net. I hope you all have a Minogijigad, Minwa Bamapi.